So there are just the two things there. Obviously open to interpretation, or sorry, say three things. Make sure to communicate with your team so everyone's on board with the story. Make sure it matches with that of your other team members in terms of who are involved in the narrative. And also the devil's in the details. Really good stuff. Now also here, this isn't necessarily to do with environmental storytelling, but it's actually to move through the progress of your level. Think about it like this. Like, I'm still playing through Last of Us 2. I know, team, I know it is still taking me longer than I have hoped for as well. What I've noticed, and they do this in Last of Us 2, was, and I hope this isn't too much spoilers, I'm not trying to go into too much here, but what they did was, when you start your descent as Ellie into Seattle, it's still quite sunny, right? The sun is out. It's kind of reflecting the mood of Ellie, kind of still wholesome, if you will, that there's still a person who hasn't been tainted by vengeance yet. But by the last day, so it's day 3, a storm has come through, it's raging, and it's matching that of the feelings of Ellie as well. And this can be a really big thing in terms of when you're designing your levels or mission. Now, hopefully, when you're doing a level, you as an LD should be in charge of the whole level from A to B. It might not always be the case. In the example I gave, that's the entire span of the story for it. But you need to think about, and especially, it's not always going to get a chance because it affects gameplay too, but do think about the weather, the time of day. What is this selling within your level? Is this reflecting the time of how your character is feeling, or the struggle of it's getting even scarier than it was before because of the fact, it's now taking place at night, for example? These elements here can really start to emphasize the overall mood and tone, and also make it a challenge as well. Maybe if it's a stealth mission like in Metal Gear Solid 5, you choose night because it's easier, but in terms of gameplay, what eventually is that will be noticed by that of the AI. So it's these elements here that really go and help push your levels, that you're thinking about these kind of extra elements that just give that sprinkle of goodness to what you're doing, to tie in again with your narrative. So have a think about that. Weather is the exact same too. Hopefully it has some gameplay impact. Even if it doesn't, it can still help. But the best stories, in my opinion, are always tied into gameplay, and I think that's very, very important. Now, those are some overall great elements to it. I'm trying to think what else really stands out to me in terms of telling stories within your levels, because there's definitely more. Mechanics can really help too, especially if you've unlocked a new mechanic, a new power, if you will. That can help tell the story too, but I'm not really thinking about it just in those terms. Music, you can speak to your audio designer, obviously, make sure they communicate with them. But due to you probably being a game, you're kind of limited by resources, right? So that's always a tough call, that you might not always get what you want from it. Playing around with lighting can really help with this. In Last of Us 2, there's a really good moment where you see Ellie just bathing in red light. And for the reason is it's the symbolicness of her kind of enraged and also going off to the deep end. And again, I'm trying not to give too much away because I don't want spoilers for Last of Us 2, so I'm trying to imagine those who want that as well. But again, your colours in your level, speaking to your lighting artist and discussing those kind of things. So as long as you have, and this comes down to the planning, you know me, everyone, I really like to talk about planning because I have made mistakes where I should have spent more time planning and it came to bite me in the arse later. And that all comes down to, again, planning what is the emotional beats to this. It's not just only that of the gameplay, but try think of the emotional elements you want the player to feel and be indulged in with these elements. So yes, think about lighting as well. I can't believe that I missed that one too. But yes, you all next time.